European Union nation leaders will meet this week to address President Trump's threats to buy Greenland.
Yeah, Trump vows to impose tariffs on NATO allies who get in his way. ABC's Christiane Cordero has the details.
Today, European leaders are rallying around Greenland and Denmark's efforts to ward off the Trump administration's escalating threats. The Danish foreign minister meeting with his British counterpart today as Trump talks about levying tariffs against NATO allies who get in his way of acquiring Greenland, a Danish territory.
There are red lines which can't be crossed. This is a matter of basic principles, and we are living in 2026 where you can trade with people, but you can't trade people.
Trump warned starting February 1st, a 10% tariff will be imposed on all goods sent to the U.S. from 8 NATO nations, including Denmark, the U.K., France, and Norway. The British Prime Minister calls the threat, quote, completely wrong. The Norwegian Prime Minister says President Trump seems very preoccupied with the Nobel Peace Prize, which is given by a Norwegian committee, not by the Norwegian government, adding that Trump sent him a message over the weekend reiterating his desire to take control of Greenland, writing in part, quote, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, insisting he's instead weighing the U.S.'s interests. The Trump administration has long claimed it needs Greenland for national security reasons.
The president is looking at Greenland as a strategic asset for the United States. We are not going to outsource our hemispheric security to anyone else.
NATO allies have since stepped up forces in the region in response to Trump's security concerns. Still, the administration isn't satisfied. When asked today about Europe retaliating against the administration's threats, Scott Bessent said this.
I think it would be very unwise.
Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Washington.
Well, Democratic Senator Tim Kaine and Republican Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky are exploring options to rein in President Trump's efforts to annex Greenland.
I do think there's a strong bipartisan consensus that the president's threats and loose talk, as my colleague Senator Paul has said, hey, let's rein in the rhetoric here. These discussions, they're not helpful because they're pushing allies away from us.
All right, so Kaine says the pair are considering 3 options: writing a new war powers resolution, challenging Trump's plan for new tariffs, and or using a law that stops him from leaving NATO without Congress's approval.